Happy Friday, guys. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. I've got a lot of content coming today. I got 4 things lined up. I'm starting right now with this one where the title Vols get potential huge news for baseball for 2025. And we'll get into that here in just a moment. My next one, I'm going to take a little bit of a break after this. Not much of one, but Vols A&M preview for the College World Series this weekend. Third one of the day will be Tennessee football has a big recruiting weekend again this weekend. I'll release a video just telling who's in town this weekend. And then I'll run across some content as well where the Lady Vols are going to have 2 big visitors next week for the 2025 class that if they could get those are game changers for that program. But, thank you guys for your support. Thank you for supporting all the content along the way. So let's get right into this thing. Tennessee yesterday, and I'll give credit on this. Ben McKee, 24/7 Sports, had an article on this. Ben's been on the base. He's good at his baseball stuff. He's very good. He's probably the go-to guy for it right now, I would say, as far as getting the news, the guy to break stuff, and just being up to date on it. I'll give him his props on that. He's excellent at his baseball coverage. He's good at all what he does. Don't get me wrong, but his baseball coverage, he's done very well. Provides a lot out there. So thank you to him for providing what he does. But I had an article last night on A.J. Russell. A.J. Russell had his Tommy John surgery on June 11th. We knew after he pitched against LSU in the SEC tournament, it was the picture that went viral when he and the trainer, Wood is the last name, when they were looking at it and he was kind of looking at his elbow. It didn't look good, but we saw him go out to the bullpen with a water jug. So it kind of seemed like, well, maybe nothing's wrong there. Come up, then Tony Vitello made the announcement that Russell was pretty much done for the year. And we come to find out he had a tear of his UCL. And then, in the article, it talks about how he got the news. He went for an MRI. He said he'd had pain for about a year going back to the end of last year. He did not pitch in summer ball. And he took that off, had that pain, said it was kind of recurring, but he didn't really think much of it. And, of course, you saw him against Texas Tech. He was excellent against Texas Tech in that opener this year, said he had pain for about a week. He threw again, come out early in the second series. Was it Albany? I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. And then took about a month off, threw against Ole Miss, had pain again. Did not work out, and then he didn't throw again till the SEC tournament. He said when he threw against Vanderbilt, he didn't feel any pain. He felt great. Threw against LSU, he said he had a few warm-up pitches to go, and something just did not feel right. So when they went in, did the MRI again, and then he was called in and informed it was a UCL tear. They were going to have to do Tommy John surgery on it. So, of course, the guy's disappointed. He said he cried all day about it, was down to dumps about it. So they went in, did the surgery. Here's where the potential big news comes in. When he woke up in surgery, so he did surgery in Knoxville. He did, I think it said Dr. Matthew Rapp, R-A-P-P-E. I hope I pronounced that right. Said he did the surgery, went in and did it local, said because anywhere else he was going to have to wait about 6 weeks on that. So 10 days ago he had the surgery. He wakes up from it. He was informed that, your normal time frame for recovery from Tommy John's 12 to 18 months. He was informed he'll be ready to go in 8 months. He'll be able to pick up a baseball in 4 months. In the meantime, it said in the article, he's in a sling. He's in stuff right now. Said they'll continue ever so often to adjust, I guess, the degrees on it. It'll go up 10 degrees per time they adjust it. I don't know how long, but in 4 months, he'll be able to pick up a baseball. I don't know exactly when he'll be able to throw one, but 8 months. Okay. If we go June 11th, 8 months, 6 months into the year, obviously December, 2 more months on that. That's 1st of February. Okay. What I would expect on that, and that's huge because I've talked about it on here. Others have said it. My expectation was probably that he was done pitching for Tennessee because I figure even though what looked like he would miss next year, a team in the draft would take a chance on. Teams are not afraid of guys coming off of Tommy John. Now, it's when they get shoulder injuries is when teams are scared on it. Elbows, they're fine with that. We've seen numerous guys getting these Tommy Johns and coming back from it. But now if it's 8-month recovery time, that puts him 1st of February. Now it is a pretty strict program. I've actually witnessed this a little bit before, guys going through that program. So they will throw bullpens. They'll throw modified bullpens or condensed bullpens. See how they feel, and then they'll go from there. There will be a specific program for him. Obviously, I don't know what that program is, and I wasn't fully up to date on what the programs were for the guys I've seen go through it. But they do a lot of rehabbing, bullpenning. They monitor him pretty closely. Something that's going to be interesting, though, I think you can almost bet on this. He's going to throw harder when he comes out of this, when that arm recovers. Most guys, just the one I saw last year, guy was throwing low 90s, around 90, I think, come out Tommy John, and he'd hit 95 on it. So, there's the expectation that you could see a tick up in that miles per hour. We saw Ben Joyce coming back from Tommy John hitting 105. I mean, wow, insane. But this is huge for Tennessee. Now, when's the earliest they could count on him? I don't think expecting him to start that season in the Friday night role is reasonable. I think that's too quick of a turnaround. Now, could you see him maybe a little bit of relief? I know Ian Anderson for the Braves just came back from Tommy John. I think it was Tommy John that he had. He's just come back recently rehabbing. I saw where he threw a couple innings. I think it was a couple nights ago on that. I think that's something we could possibly see. Now, could they go opener role out of him? Possibly. Could they just go a little bit of relief? Could they just go midweek to start with? Because normally Tennessee plays in some kind of classic to start the year, play some good teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that again next year. But do they kind of work him in with midweek starts, midweek just pitching? I expect it'll be slow, and I don't think they'll throw him into the fire against big team. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I think this is huge news. This is huge news. Based on that time frame, he will be good to go at some point, barring that rehab and everything feels good along the way. This is big because this is a pitching staff that is potentially losing its whole weekend rotation. Causey's going to be the one. Whether he gets drafted, I think there's a good chance he does. But, if not, that's a good guy to have back. Matthew Dallas just hit the portal yesterday. I made a video about that last night. I'll link that at the end here for you. There's some younger guys that may step up next year. The portal's going to be in effect as well, as they had Tommy Lepore from Wichita State in earlier in the year. I did a video on that. I'll try to find that and link that at the end here as well if you want to check that out real quick. That was about the visitors they had during the Super Regionals. Lepore was one of 3 who were in town that weekend. But it's going to be interesting to see where they go with the portal. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the MLB draft, how it affects the current team, how it affects their recruiting class they have coming in, which depend on where you've seen. I've seen it ranked up as high as first, and I think possibly second in some publications as well. And next week after this is over, I'm going to get into baseball recruiting. It's going to become a staple on here as well, talking about that, trying to keep that up to date with you as well. Just trying to look at some guys and where they rank. Will they make it to campus? Will they not? And such. But to me, this is huge news for Tennessee, one way or another. Whether you get A.J. Russell back as an end of the game guy as you get into next year, or possibly back into the rotation. I think it's reasonable. And the article by McKee mentioned middle SEC season. I think that's pretty reasonable. But I do think with that time frame, if he's throwing in February, I think you could see a little bit easing him in as it goes. And again, it's going to depend on how he feels, where they go from there. It's not going to be reasonable. I don't know if at any point that it'd be reasonable for him to go out and throw 100 pitches next year. Possibly, but I think it would be in the latter part of the season. All right, big news for Tennessee baseball, and of course hopefully that's a segue into even bigger news this weekend with Tennessee playing for the national championship tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN. Sunday's game, 2 o'clock, ABC. That is Eastern Time. And if necessary, Monday night, 7 o'clock, ESPN. Hopefully Tennessee can take care of business in 2. But, I don't care either way. As it can go to Monday night. As long as they win it, a win's a win. That's all that matters on it. I'm going to wrap up on that one. I appreciate your support as always. My name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. Make sure you like. If you have not already and you like the content, make sure you hit that subscribe. Pushing 1,300 subs. That's pretty cool. Let's get on that road to 1,500 here. I think we'll be on that road this weekend. But I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. Again, 3 more videos coming throughout the day. I hope you'll tune in for that as well. Last but most certainly not least, go big. Or how about let's back up here. Go Vols.